We had this great shed in our backyard for storing lawn equipment and tools, but the walk to it was always a muddy mess. So I decided to fix it. And I'll show you how you can build the same thing at your house. This video is sponsored by Cabot. If you're building with wood outdoors, their products make everything better. The first thing I needed to do was clear away any of the mulch, leaves, weeds, everything from the area, and then I could begin trenching. So the way I'm building this garden path is I'm going to lay some supports into the dirt that are basically going to follow the form and shape of the path that I want, and then I'm going to nail some wooden treads on top of it. I've got a very curvy design here, and I knew that there wasn't a wood product that was really going to work for this. So I'm using 1x4 cellular PVC trim. It's pretty much rot proof. I can bury it in the dirt for years and not have to worry about it, and it's extremely flexible, so it'll bend to the curves I need. To hold it in place, I'm using these garden spikes, basically. They're just plastic spikes that I can dig into the ground around my supports here and hold it in place while I get the dirt set up on it, because ultimately the earth is going to hold this in place. I wanted to double them up, so I've got 2 on each side, and using 2 gives me a little bit more support because these are kind of flimsy, and also I'm able to have a wider nailing and screwing surface for my treads to screw down into. Rather than just having something that's 3/4 of an inch, I've got a full 1.5 inches to screw into. And I assembled them, I just kind of bent them where they needed to be and laminated them all using stainless steel screws every foot or so on both sides. Then I was ready to bury them back into the dirt where they needed to go. I had to clear some dirt out from the center so my wood treads weren't going to be sitting right on the dirt, but I had to bury these up pretty well, smack the dirt down, and make sure that they weren't going anywhere. One down. Once I got both in, I came through with 4-foot level and leveled it all. I'm making about a 36-inch wide path, so I'll have around 3 feet. And then I came through with a hose and watered in around each of the supports so all the dirt would just really go down in there and really support these supports. I've got a nice little decline slope leading to my sidewalk there from the shed. And then it was time for grabbing the cedar. Now I'm using Western red cedar from this, and it is extremely splintery and rough. I had to clean it up just a little bit, but you may be noticing I'm wearing some gloves, and that's because I am notorious for getting splinters from wood, and I wasn't about to have it. I'm wearing my Neo Dex Fit gloves. These are great mechanics gloves. They're comfortable, I can use them outside, and I don't get splinters. And the best part, I can do all my math on my calculator or text as I need to because they have smartphone compatible fingertips. I love it. Now it was time to cut my cedar treads. I'm cutting these all about 4 feet because I've got 12-foot boards, that way I'll get 3 out of each. And I laid them all out, going in line with the shed. But there was a problem. They were too springy because they didn't have enough support in the center. So I took it all off and I dug out for another support. I had to go back to the store, pick up some more PVC, install it, dig it out, attach it. I'll save you all that. Once I got the third support in, they were just fine. And then I started laying them out, and I'm keeping them totally parallel to my garden shed, and then using just a carpenter's pencil as my spacer, which is on one side an even 1/4 inch, and you'll see later how the other side is an even 1/2 inch. I could just put that on there, and I'm using stainless steel nails just to tack these in place, and I'll come back later and screw them off. Doing it this way is much easier because now I don't have to cut different angles on the boards as the path curves. I can just do it all straight, leaving a healthy overhang, and then I can come back and trim the edges, which is what I'm going to do at the end of this, to have a nice smooth edge. Then I came back with stainless steel screws, 1.5 inch, and screwed 2 on each side of each tread and 1 in the center for the center support. Western red cedar is particularly soft, so you don't need to pre-drill, but if you're using a harder wood, you may want to pre-drill. Everything was screwed in, ready to go. Now it's time to trim. I used my carpenter's pencil again and just set it on the edge of my support underneath, and that way I could measure 1/2 inch over, because I'm going to have a 1/2 inch overage, and that's the overhang I planned for. I had to mark each board individually because of the custom curve I have on here. And then I just grabbed my circ saw and followed the line. I couldn't cut the last piece with the circ saw, so I just had to use a hand saw to trim off those last bits right up against the shed. Now it's ready for my Cabot stain. Now for this, I'm using a solid color acrylic deck stain. It's a great product, especially since there's no priming needed. You just gotta make sure the wood is clean. And this is gonna match the gray deck on my existing porches. They're a covered porch, but I wanted something that was meant for the outdoors, and since this deck is going to be exposed to the weather and elements, I wanted something tough like Cabot stains. It's water repellent, mildew resistant, and it goes on really nicely. You want to brush it out, you just need to do 1 coat and make sure you're not over applying. That tends to be a problem a lot of people have, is putting too thick of a coat on. Just get good even coverage and leave it alone. With the last board done, I waited 24 hours before walking on it and checking out the final product. Any project that I can get these kind of results in just 1 day is a win in my book. And you can build your own too with Cabot's help. Check out some of these other videos and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy DIY projects. That's right, I said juicy.